Hey everybody, it is Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today we're going to just take a break from everything going on in the world and paint. So all week, every day, as long as we have power, we're going to be coming to you with a step-by-step live art stream. This is a watercolor step-by-step of a gorgeous fall fairy. She's very beginner friendly. The materials are in the description, the traceables in the description, but I'm going to explain every part of this. And remember, you can use what you have, especially with watercolor. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hello.
He helps me with all this mayhem and madness by making sure the stream goes live on time.
I try.
And that everything actually works, because honestly, I couldn't turn a single piece of this equipment on. No John, no me at all. So keeping that all in perspective. We're going to be painting on 9x12, 140-pound watercolor paper. And while I do think you can absolutely use whatever you have, and that is perfectly fine, you may want to consider upgrading your paper. Now, this was yesterday's painting, so I'm going to pull this off the pad. And the reason I saved this to pull off the pad is so that you guys could see how you remove paper from a watercolor block. So watercolor pads where all the sides are glued with a compound. Is it compound?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then when you paint, they don't wrinkle as bad. You can just take a thumb and remove them from the sheet. And this allows the paper to stretch on the pad, preventing some of that buckling problem that you may be experiencing as a watercolor artist. Again, I'm going to show you how to draw this out. It takes very, very little drawing. But if that makes you nervous, the traceable is on the website, ready for download. Just print it out, rub a pencil on the back, follow along with my traceable tutorial, and you want to just use the graphite method instead of the Ceril paper method, though you probably could use Ceril if it was a light enough color. I am going to use a Cretacolor, Cretacolor, graphite aquarelle pencil. And I'm going to come here and start to put in a couple key objects that I want to keep track of. Now, her head, right, is almost kind of a thumbnail. And she's up in the upper thirds of the painting coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to make a thumbnail kind of size, beginning of a circle. Okay, and then John's going to get in. It's going to be light, guys, and it should be light.
I can make an adjustment to some camera-ness.
Oh, it's 2 seconds of sketching, so. And then I can just shadow it, so they'll be okay. We're going to come here and we're going to ellipse in the thumbnail. That will be the crown of her head, right? Now, boop, boop, boop. I always give myself a little shoulders. You want the shoulders to come out just past the sides of the head. And this is just to let me know where they are. And we're going to bring an arm up, a little bit of a line, right? Just to around the top of her head is how long we're going to make those arms. The top of her head. It's very interesting. If you ever look at the work of Da Vinci, he shows you in several of his figurative drawings where the positioning of the elbow has to be in relationship to an object. See my elbow in relationship to my head, and then my elbow goes down to my waist. So wherever it is on that pivot, that's where you're going to be looking for it. Now I'm going to, at the elbow itself, kind of bow that out a bit. Even though we're doing this in a very stylized, loose way, you want to bow that out to get that little bit of a bend. Everything tapers super delicately at the wrist. And I'm just going to do the paddle, which is this part of the hand. You can see there. This is going to allow me to put the fingers in very loosely and like lightly expressively. So it's not a drawing centric piece. It really isn't. This is a painting centric piece. And you want everything to sort of be exaggerated and long. Now, I don't press hard with my pencil because I really want watercolor to be the feature of this particular drawing. Doing the same thing here. That's all I need in my guide. Then I'm going to bring a little bit of a guide of the hair just so I know where the hair is going to be. Right. Swinging the hair out. And then we're going to bring a little guide out of the dress. And the dress is going to come across here. And up top here in the corner, I'm going to just tap out a small, bigger than a quarter, but right around a quarter size little spot that's going to be my sun. Boom. That's where we're at with that. Let's see if I can see the questions that I have. I love Linda's asking for thumbs up. Yes, please. Thank you. If you like these lessons, do leave a comment, do thumb up, do share, tell your friends that they can come learn how to paint for free. The reason for that is so you can get more art supplies, right? Because that's where we want you putting in your resources, is into your art supplies. You can have all the things at the art store. Hi, Amy. Amy is pointing out that it is super light, and that's another good reason to print out a traceable, because we tend to draw very light on the watercolor paper. If you print out the traceable, even if you're going to draw along with me, it's another guide, right? The way that this reference, when you print out the references, it's a guide. These are visual reminders of what you're doing. You want to ask yourself to learn a new skill and then guess at what the results should be. You want your stuff printed out. So, you know, when you go in the event, print out the girl, print out the traceable, have those resources, even if you don't intend to use them as kind of like an anchor. Thelma says hi to everybody. And Shelly says, how long are you doing the watercolor sessions for? Love watercolor. So Shelly, we have 3 of them this week. There'll be another one Sunday. And then every Wednesday, because, you know, to be totally basic, I did do Watercolor Wednesday. That's what I did. Now, I'm going to use, this is a quill. You don't have to use a quill. I could also use a nice big 3/4 oval or a wash brush here. I need to pre-wet enough paper with my kind of little yellow sun effect. And I need it to be pre-wet so that the watercolor will be very soft. It's easier if I'm going to do a whole sheet to use a bigger brush. So I'm going to go around, and all I'm doing is literally painting water, which you can handle. Right? You can handle the water. And I won't go too far down because I'll do this a little bit at a shot. I'm going to grab a little of my yellow. I'm going to just come around my little sun and just make circles around that. This is a very similar thing we do often in our acrylic classes. It's kind of the watercolor version of that, isn't it? Those little easy radial marks. They're very light. You might get a little orange into it sometimes, or a little more pigment. Make some of the bands seem brighter, seem stronger, but you still want this sky to be light enough that the girl's value, her color, pops off the canvas. So that's why we're not even making the sky as dark as we could. All right, keep going. We're just going to come down. Just this light yellow. Remember what I said last time where you could activate watercolor that was already dry? There I am doing that off the palette, using up some of that yummy orange from yesterday. And that's important to remember with watercolors. They're very different in acrylics in that they will reactivate. Even when drying the paper, you can reactivate and kind of lift some of the color out or move it or blend it. And you can reactivate it dry on the palette. So when you look at these tiny little plops of paint, you need to think of them as being a lot of paint, even though it seems like not a lot of paint. All right. All right. Annie's a teacher and in quarantine awaiting COVID results. I'm hoping that you are okay. We are all wishing you health on that. If you are awaiting COVID results, we are wishing you the greatest possible health and the best possible results on your test. You know, be careful out there with that. It's important to be careful with our health and take care of ourselves because we matter to people. You know, we have people in our lives that count on us. And so, especially teachers, right? A lot of people counting on teachers. We have, is your dad out of the hospital yet, John?
No, he's
still there?
He's in a much more relaxed room now.
He's out of the...
He was out of the concerned space and into a private room.
See, that is an improvement, but it was a really challenge. It was a big challenge for him.
We were concerned.
Yeah, it was scary. You know, anything that can get into your lungs. I've had pneumonia several times, and I have to say, anytime anything can get into your lungs like that, it's a big deal. It's very challenging and can get weird real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go too deep into her, but I do want these little radials. So we get nice little radials.
Yeah.
Now I can come back and I'm going to come here with just a little bit of strong yellow and I'll go around my little circle. And I'm making that a little more defined, just a bit focal, right? So we have these touches of oranges through here. Everything was wet into wet. You can do this with a small brush. You'll just be working a little harder to get all the way through. You know, it's just one of those things where it's important to get that. Do we have any questions? Oh, Amy's worried. Amy says, Cinnamon, I hope I did not sound rude about the light drawing. My apologies if it did. So here's the thing. If you're a new student, if you're here to the channel for the first time, welcome. If you're painting with us for the first time, welcome. If you're here for the, well, I guess it could be the over thousandth time. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to see you again. But something to know about me as a teacher is that I am really chill with my students. Questions that you guys might have, observations that you make. I think it's harder on my moderators sometimes than it is on me. Even if something, you know, even comes up, but like on something where you point out something as an artist to go, oh, that's a very light drawing, or, you know, you ask the question and maybe you have to ask it more than once. That stuff does not hold any weight on my spirit. It is literally what I teach. I believe I'm here to answer questions. Believe I am here to help. And so when I come to those questions again, I don't mind going and getting a link, or I don't mind helping you find a resource. I'm very, very present to what my purpose is, if that makes sense. And I think it's important to be present about purpose. Mm-hmm. Now, the goal of these, and I'm letting this dry a little bit before I paint in her head, is that we take a day off from whatever's going on in our lives, and we put down our worries and our stress if we can. It's a goal. It's not a mandate. It's a goal. And focus on something that helps us feel better. So I'm going to shout it out to you guys watching at home, painting along at home. What are you doing today? And it could be this class. What are you doing today to take care of yourself? How are you self-caring? Because remember, and I say this a lot, I'm going to say it again because it bears repeating. Cannot give what you don't have. You're not going to be sad enough to make somebody in your life happy. You're not going to be poor enough to make somebody rich, sick enough to make somebody healthy, and just worn out enough to be able to help somebody else get through. You have to take care of yourself if you want to take care of others. So, important thing, I feel. Yeah. Oh, I'm very sorry for your loss, Darcy. I'm very sorry. It is just very intense. And life with Casey was talking about her husband going through pneumonia too. It's just, you know, it's a time. Yeah. So, you know, let's take a moment to think about how we're taking care of ourselves based on how we're facing, you know, we've got a lot to face in life. Take a minute to say, share it. Maybe how you take care of yourself will help somebody else. I teach art. Very helpful to me. Really true. I'm going to dry this just a little bit. You don't have to hair dry your thing. I do because I'm teaching in class.
Okay.
And as much as I love watching paint dry comments, I actually really do love them. If you've ever made one and you think, oh, no, she's upset, I laugh because sometimes we do watch paint literally dry. So it's funny.
It's a professional, it's an occupational hazard. I have to watch paint dry. So, speaking of paint drying, you should hit that subscribe button.
Oh, I see Teresa has come in to sneak a peek in her busy, busy day. And the Art Sherpa set myself 200 stars.
Oh, did you? How'd you do that?
I don't know.
How did I do that?
I think you accidentally did that.
Oh, no, I think Colleen did that.
Oh, and then I set myself 50 stars. I think Colleen is trying to detach from the Art Sherpa and send stars. It's okay. I get
So when you're a moderator, you have multiple accounts, and sometimes that I do that a lot. I'll be like in someone else's channel and I'll be like, hey, and then it'll be like, oh wait, I'm the wrong account. Sorry. I have to take it down and then repost because
it's just one of those things. We do appreciate Super Chat. We do appreciate stars. They are very helpful. They help us do our shows. You don't have to do either one of those to get your question answered or to get help from us. That is just a nice thing. It's okay to do, but it isn't required to get teaching in any way. So, but it is lovely, even when I send myself stars. I'm going to start out with some yellow here, and I'm going to get kind of a pure yellow on the tip of my brush. This is a travel brush, but it is a number 8. This is part of the black velvet line. This one's called the Voyage, and they close up and become a mini brush, so I can paint on the go, and I really like it. Got a very nice tip. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to come here around the edge, and then I will definitely bring a couple long lines. You can kind of see how I'm carving those out like a little bit of an S. And come in, get a little bit more yellow. I'll come around this side. Maybe I'll go like that a bit there. Perhaps come down. We're talking a little bit at first in yellow about the hair. Now that's sort of a ring, right? I haven't painted the inside. And very carefully, I'm going to come in. And with a curved stroke, these strokes are curving to the left, and they straighten out, and they're going to curve to the right. That's how I get the reflection in the top of her hair. I have to leave that white. And just bring this nice brush stroke down. We're brushing her hair back. She's fall fairy, just to have her hair. Right? My daughter used to have hair like this. My dream hair, mermaid hair. And she became a teenager and cut it into some cooler, edgier style.
Now, yesterday you said there's not a white watercolor paint.
No, you can buy something called gouache, or you can go over your watercolor with acrylic or a tool like a jelly roll pen to put white back. But in traditional watercolor, the goal is to preserve your white. It's a goal. Don't like make yourself miserable with the goal. I'm taking my bright yellow and this red. This red is a warm red. It is listed in the description. Carmine, I think it's Sennelier red. But it's a very warm red, like a Cad red medium or a Naphthol red medium. So just whatever watercolor palette, if you've got a Crayola palette, you're going to look and you're going to have some reds that kind of remind you of bloods, some reds that kind of remind you of pinks. And then you're also going to have some reds that remind you of fire. This is the red that reminds you of fire. A minivan just came in. Is there any chance it's your bed?
Gosh, I think it's probably the delivery people for Amazon.
Okay. I just don't want you to miss your bed again.
I have to call them.
Okay. I'm going to come here on the edge with my orange. And we'll just come back up a little bit. Everything is still a little wet, so it can soften into the paint. Bring it in. And I bring this down with that nice little flow. You can leave some of your yellow. Starting those brush marks. Where I take that off and I let that flick out, and maybe Jen can kind of come down and watch that. Every time I do that, it gives that sense of it being like a little hair.
Mm-hmm.
I may come back after I put the arms in, but that's where we start that. Now the arms, interestingly enough, I'm going to take a little bit of my brown into my orange. This will remind you, if you're familiar with burnt sienna, it is burnt sienna. If you're not, there are two browns in most watercolor sets. There is a brown that is warm and reddish.
Whoa. Uh-oh. Okay?
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Is he okay?
Teenager. She tried to walk quietly up the 100-year-old steps and failed.
But she's okay.
She's okay.
Is she 1,000% okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
She just rolled a 1 on walking up the stairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just very glad she's okay.
As she's holding her
Let me
hand,
reset. She's okay.
she's fine. She has her phone in a death grip on her one hand.
Okay, so she saved her phone and not herself.
Yes.
As most teenagers are wont to do nowadays. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to start with, this is a mix of my yellow and that reddish brown, not the dark, deep foresty brown. Okay? We would refer to this as warm and a cool brown, but if you're not familiar with those terms, those are the things you're kind of looking for. A little yellow and a brown. I'm going to come up on my arm. Make sure that there's enough kind of paint on there.
Oh, you're way up around.
Just delicately painting that in. Now remember, in watercolor, you have a thing called color shift. Paint the paddle. That's the hand. Now on her hand, her thumb is on the inside, so I'm going to bring a little line out. And then I'll just create a long index finger, a longer finger here, and slightly shorter, and then a little pinky. And that's how we get that little watercolor hand in. When I get all that in, I'm going to take a little bit of that cooler brown we were talking about, that one that's in the forest, and I'll come underneath her arm with just a little touch of that.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ooh, how are we doing? Just
Good,
painting
good.
along, just breathing into it, breathing through our lives, putting down whatever we're worried about. I have a hair color question. We get one during the shows. Arlene Peterson, hi Cinnamon, can you share which hair color you use? It looks flat. So for the current hair, the root was the L'Oreal Metallic. And then on this, I used the Ion Magenta. I've been letting it kind of lighten out here and maintain it with a product called Viral Shampoo, which is a color depositing shampoo. And I like their hot pink. That is the secret of my hair that I share with you willingly. I don't mind.
I'm so envious.
Mm.
Micheline,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's her name. She's in San Francisco, and that was a great time to be painting watercolor in San Francisco.
Okay.
Well, because it's a really
San Francisco?
pretty time of year.
It is a pretty time of year.
So if you're like anywhere out there, granted that
There's earthquakes and
fires and Blade Runner
I'm
was
just
off
saying.
by 40 years. Yes,
Let's put it
we have seen apocalyptic scenes in San Francisco of late, but not every day. It's got some really pretty days, and the parks are nice this time of year, and yeah. So
there's
anyway.
the two little twists on her hand. The thumb is on the far side of the hand, but it's peeking down, so she's kind of got two different little twists on her arm. We're letting that brown sort of bleed in. See how that goes. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
You guys are going to love learning how to do the fall leaves. Have I tried Overtone? I have and did not love. I love Lime Crime. Lime Crime is so good. If you have not tried Lime Crime, you must in your life if you do fantasy color like me, because the smell of that product is insane. You just think to yourself, this can't be hair color. And you go, there's no way it's going to color my hair because this is so good. And then you go around the house, instead of smelling like a chemical spill, you smell like yummy things. Don't eat the hair product, but it smells yummy enough to eat. And then you walk around, and then no one complains about you.
So Raheel,
Cassidy sent me stars. Thank you, Anu. Thank you.
So I think this is funny. So Raheel was having trouble because he's like, I want to have purple hair too, but his mom was like, no. So here's the thing. I suggest you grow a beard, dye it purple first. That softens the blow. You just get purple beard, and then they're like, just go ahead and do your hair. It's fine. That's my plan.
So I'm going to say this to Raheel. I was a girl in the 80s who wanted colored hair when that was the craziest thing you could do, right? And parents were just so afraid of the punks, so afraid of the goths, and just afraid of AC/DC and Kiss. They're just afraid of all the things. And my mom was super attached to my hair because my natural hair is strawberry blonde. Like, you know how I just waxed about Honey's long hair?
Mm-hmm.
Amplify that by 1,000 is how my mom felt about my long strawberry blonde hair. It was a real thing for her.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to have purple hair. And they didn't have good purple dye. And I had to manic panic and Kool-Aid it. And what I will say is still. But, as you get older, like, if you know you like these things, you don't get to a place in your life that you don't like them. My dad is in his 80s, and he rides KTM motorcycles in Moab and skis all winter with the youngins, right? With the 20-year-olds, and keeps up. He didn't stop loving extreme sports. He just kept doing them, so he never had to stop. So if you love colored hair, you'll love it your whole life. If you love certain things, if they're really true to you, you're going to love them your whole life. And remember, there's hair chalk, which is temporary. It's on one day, looks amazing, washes out. I'm not a good influence. I'm sorry. I'm going to take my pink, my red that's a little bit pink, right? This is the red that's a bit pink. And I'm going to come here and start to paint in a little bit of her dress. I like to paint the dress.
Let me get that.
I'm going to even get back into my big brush again because I want to get nice big areas of dress. Right? Big. Oh, there we go. See how that's nice and big?
Mm-hmm.
We're keeping that kind of light. I'll come in and do some detail stuff with the hair, but I want to kind of get it in here. I'm going to maybe come in with some yellow. Now up here is where we're going to use the yellows and pinks and oranges. And then as we come down here, we're going to get into the blues and purples. So mentally in your mind, you're going to want to divide this in half. Kind of in half zone. Half zone. I'm going to bring that all the way down. We're getting that color in there. Softly though. She's a soft little fairy creature. Taking out summer. Running summer into like the next time of year. I'm going to get a little orange in here. I'm going to just make sure that softly we have a bit of that hair kind of thought about, which I can come back and inform more later.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's important to remember that as the watercolor dries, what is it going to do? Lighten.
And is there anything to make watercolor dry faster? It really shouldn't take too long to dry, should it?
It shouldn't take too long to dry. You may be overwetting your paper. And what I find is that, it's just best to let it rest, to be real honest. I hair dry on occasion, but the only reason I'm hair drying, I'm going to take a little bit of this red and a little bit of this purple together. I'm in here with the little bits of purple. A little color mixing. Isn't that nice? We don't want it too dark because we want the blue flowers and some of the other ultramarine in there. I want some of the other colors to be showing. And that's how we get that first part of the dress in. It should be very soft.
Yeah.
Very, very soft. Just the beginnings. Soft and expressive. After 15 years, I will color my hair like you and come to the U.S. and have a Sherpa selfie. All right, let's do it. Let's do that. If I'm still here, and maybe we'll have a con going by then or something that's regular. Let's get through the retreat that we've got next October because like COVID kind of messed us up, so we're kind of rebooting it. That retreat.
Yeah, I'm like we even have a conversation this morning about this. This is something we're excited to do in the future, and like we're even thinking how we can make some cool stuff happen.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
Heather Campbell said something very wise, Don. Rest
she?
is watercolor self.
Oh.
Yeah, we are talking about it. We've got the retreat, and then I know that's going to be great. If we can just have COVID, like the vaccine, it's going to be great. And I believe that they will get one.
This will be the roaring 20s all over again. 2021,
Yeah,
2022,
it will
2023.
be. If you go back and do any history about the Spanish flu coming out of it, man, that's where the roaring 20s came from. People were over it. And we're over it.
Yeah.
The TikTok house needs to slow down and wait. They're too early, guys. Too early. Come on, Trisha Payto. Stop it. Too early. Can you heat my coffee if I get like
I need okay. So I need to stop producing the show and running all the cameras.
Maybe you get a kid to do it. I'm going to get some orange going. I'm getting some orange.
We'll just see how this goes. I'm gonna
really. You seem upset.
No. I mean, like I'm sure if I just walk, it's not going to explode, right?
I can wait. I'm not a child. I can wait. I'm going to add some little flicks of more orange in the hair, kind of coming off. It's nice to have little tiny hairs floating away. Don't take out all your lovely other light colors, though. You want to blend these in. See how we're leaving our light colors still showing? You don't want to lose those entirely. And also, we have to think about that there's this circlet here. So as we're going, I'm just making orange. You want to make sure you leave room for the circlet. Here, and then I'm going to bring this out. And you can see in very quick order, the paper settles down enough to take the orange paint. I see Colleen is answering technical questions. Thank you very much, Miss Colleen. I appreciate it. Hamed Najim. Hello, I'm an Arab. I hope that will not bother anyone. No, not at all. We have community from 250 countries. All we ask is that everybody's really nice to each other, but you be from anywhere. That is okay. This is a big, big art community, and art is for everyone, everywhere, is my feeling. Very inclusive. We do real well. I think we're in a lot of homeschool programs. And a lot of people doing self-education because, everybody's sort of trapped at home right now, no matter where you are. A little trapped at home. Ah, lovely. Mods, 1 hoot or 2 hoot today? I feel like this is kind of a 1 hoot one is my feeling because the drawing is so limited up here and everything is just sort of a flowing stroke. So this is a walk away girl that I think is very easy to do. Who went on YouTube first, you or your mom? Me. By a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also
what I'll say is there's a long history there, a very interesting one. But
no, yeah, we were on YouTube before Mom got on. She was doing a thing with an artist named Mark Kistler, Captain Mark. Blast across the page, and I can say it. She can't say it. I don't think he was very nice to her.
No.
Personally, I think for a period of time he was, but I think at the end he wasn't. And so he did a thing that a lot of people do, which is not taking care of paying the artists and the people first. Mm-hmm. And so she ended up coming onto YouTube, but I think that was a good thing for her. I think that was the right choice at the time, to be really honest. Mm-hmm. My opinion. I don't want to get her in trouble.
No, yeah, and that's where we don't generally kind of go into that stuff. It's not our story to tell.
Or the way it should be told. Yeah, how it should be told. Because as her daughter, I'm going to be a little more like, because your mom.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we had a real specific plan and strategy on how we were going to do our YouTube channel and go live, and so that was, we definitely had a lot of pre-planning before we did this. We don't always do this, and John would never toot his own horn, but a lot of how these live setups are set up everywhere, he pioneered. Formatting, equipments that are used, all of that, John pioneered. Led the way, I think. I think you could go back, you could go in the Wayback Machine. I'm not saying gamers didn't. Straight up, I'm not saying gamers didn't, but I think John was the first to look over at gaming and look over at those things and understand how that was done and figure out how it would work for art. What I can say is that Cinnamon has led the pack in a lot of the stuff that's happened in the art vertical in the beginning painting sector of YouTube. From how we make our show to how she teaches. We've left footprints in history in the recordings. You can go back and see who did what. And I think we've, you know.
I just think because he's like my husband, so I can be like super biased too.
Well, you've
I'm
done
gonna
it as
come
well.
here and
how about the thumbnail formatting?
That's true.
So what I would say is that historically, Cinnamon and I have led and not followed.
And when we get too many followers, we come up with a new direction. Not followers, you guys, but like when everybody does it, then we think about like what could we do to contribute. When I came on the platform, I actually asked myself if I had something new to contribute. I didn't come to contribute the same thing that everybody was already doing well, you know? And so like, it's just something that we really thought about. Like, what are we adding to people's lives? Do we have something to say that will help them in a way that would be good for them? And I feel like we did. I'm coming here with some stronger colors. I'm using this is technically carmine, but it's just any pinkish magenta that you have. And I'm using my yellow and I'm just kind of blending it through there. I need to leave it where as it calms itself and kind of starts to dry, I want to make sure that it's light enough for the leaves to show through. And as I'm going, I'm going to get into let's get into some of our ultramarine blue. And I'll do some pink in here and I'll go purple. I know somebody asked when the year we went live. I am not sure. I'm going to guess off the top of my head. It was 2015, maybe end of 2014.
Yeah, somewhere in there. We did some experiments before I got the full broadcast equipment in.
Not everything was left up on the channel. No, yeah. Not everything was a win.
So, but
there were some tests.
Early on, we recognized we needed to be running on more commercial-based broadcast equipment, and that was probably the big first investment we made. Was
just real quick, I'm going between the carmine red, the diox purple, and the ultramarine blue, kind of creating little streak downs of the different little layers of her dress and just pulling those down. Sorry, you go back.
Oh, no,
No, I love when you talk.
Oh, well, I also like that this looks like chiffon, Amy, but
I do like that it looks like chiffon. Kim says, hi, Cinnamon and John. And then just so you know, sometimes on the chat, if I ever miss a question, it's because the chat goes by quickly and I was looking down when the question went by. Because it only gives me 2 lines of chat. Miranda says, I have learned so much from you and your mom. That is really cool. I love that. I love that.
You know, we've totally enjoyed doing this with you guys. It's been our pleasure to help be part of your lives. I should say, how to say that? I appreciate you guys coming and being here because it gives us purpose.
It does. It absolutely does. Just painting this, like just trying to create that little sense of flow. And then when we kind of have that there, I might come down with some stronger, like, blue. You can see how the blend is going. You want the colors to be distinctive, but you do need them to dry where they're going to allow everything to show through. Now, this part is really fun. We're going to go up by the head, John.
Okay.
Mary Youngblood says, she looks free-spirited. What I need to feel more of. I have a lot on my shoulders. I honor what is on your shoulders. I get that. I think we're all everywhere. We're all carrying so much stuff, and being able to put it down and being light in spirit. I have to constantly kind of clean out the clock, work on the belfry up here, because if I let it build up too much, I get a little weird. I project a little too much and I forget to filter as I should. And I get a little keyed up. Okay. I have my top 5 artists: Peter Max, Bob Ross, Cinnamon Cooney, Ginger Cook, and me. Okay. Everyone give Darcy a hand for acknowledging herself as a favorite artist. Oh, Steve Martin, Pollinary. Have you seen his master class? It is just awe-inspiring. loved it. You know, I loved that. Really good.
Very
Good for you. I know it's sometimes really hard to acknowledge yourself as an artist when you're new to painting, because you guys have so much respect for what it takes to learn how to paint. And you don't want to call yourselves an artist prematurely, but I have to tell you a secret. As soon as you start painting, you're an artist.
Yep.
Now, it may take a minute to be a professional artist. I'm taking this green. This green, let me describe this. This green is a very bright green. It's a lot of yellow. It's technically light phthalo green. But any grass green or bright green with a strong yellow to it is what you're looking for here. And I'm just taking the brush and I'm just tapping down little leaves. Now, here's the trick. When I'm trying to get the curve, I need to have them disappear around her head, right? Mm-hmm. So notice that the dots get a little bit smaller and there's a bit of an ellipse that happens. That's how I get the feeling of her garland. I could do her for every season, I swear. I probably will now that I've said it. Whenever I say things like that, watch out, because when I just say these random things, they happen. They become an actual thing on the channel. Like, for realsies. Let's see what's going on there and make sure I'm not missing anything. Miranda says she loves watching The Gift. And Fazila Afzai says, hi from Pakistan. I love your style and you're super talented. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What time is it in Pakistan? I have a world clock. If you guys want to know what time it is elsewhere, one of the things that YouTube has taught me, because listen, when I came on to teach on digitally online on YouTube, I didn't know about Facebook. I couldn't even get my posts liked by my own family. Okay. Like pictures of the grandkids. I had all the social media knowledge, not at all. It's all like self-taught, self-learned, get there myself. One of the things that I learned how to do was know what time it was elsewhere. And that world clock is amazing because you can calculate what time it is for just about anything. So whether you watch me or somebody else, if you're trying to figure out those time zones, you just figure out when it is from where you are and use the world clock. I'll calculate it for you. Remember, ding, you're an artist, says Paul Neary. And Darcy says, thank you for the laughs. And then Chiquita says, I first found your mom and then you visited her and I started watching both of you. Yeah, I like visiting mom. She's on a different schedule. She doesn't have kids. I try to do nights. You guys have seen me do it because I like to vary up the times. But like, she just easier for her to go live at night sometimes than me. I try to make sure everybody's time zone gets acknowledged.
Yeah.
It's been very hard for us to catch up and even be in the same place, same time to even do anything lately. But we have some fun stuff on my channel that we did get to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can watch John take a cupcake away from my mom because she was going to eat it and fallen in paint. It's really funny. Nutcrackers, nice holiday paint. So I'm going to take the blue down. And you can see I just wander that little ribbon there a bit and maybe get a little green. Free little bits in her hair, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to get some of my fiery red. I'm going to give her hair some little detailed pieces. See how we do? And it just makes it flow and fly. Let the hair fly.
Let the hair fly.
Now, I'm going to do my splashes before I do my leaves.
Okay.
And the reason is I want to kind of know where the splashes are so they don't mess up my leaves. So I'm going to take a little bit of my orange and I'm going to have my brush be fairly wet and I'm going to do a tap.
Ooh.
And that's how I do my splashes. If that makes you nervous and you want to skip that part of it, that is understandable. I highly suggest you try it on a scratch piece of paper. And then you might discover, oh yeah, I really, really like it. Or you might be like, oh no, not for me, not for me. It will give you like rainbow freckles though. Oop. So there we go. There's the splashes. And we do need to let those dry a little bit. While those are drying, I may come back with a little bit of blue and come up here and do some little dotting flowers of blue away from the hairdress. We want her to have a nice little Ren Fair, lots of flowers in her hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we've got there. Speaking of nights, is there a watercolor lesson this evening? Nope. This evening's is being moved to 1 for a little while because I'm just having, to be real honest, like sometimes at night, I don't know that I'm the teacher I need to be. Sometimes I am, but sometimes I'm tired. And then I just got a lot of questions like, are you tired? Are you okay? And I'm like, you know what it is? Probably at 7 o'clock at night, I got kids and homeschool and I got stuff going on. I may be getting a little tired at night. Raheel, will there be giveaways soon? Yeah, I'm thinking we'll do one over the weekend.
Yep.
We'll do one over the weekend. We'll do them over the weekend. We'll do a couple brushes and maybe a watercolor set.
Yeah.
Like do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday giveaway.
Seems good.
Mary Youngblood loves the botanical crown, and I'm going to catch up to chat here. And Roveda says Pakistan right now. The time is 11:55 p.m.
I know.
Whoa, you stayed up so late. Thank you. I'm going to dry this with a hairdryer. You shouldn't do this with drops because it can make them run.
Make them run.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't do that with. Oh, what she means is the hairdryer will make the droplets of paint spread if they're wet and dolloped. They can go and make little spreads, but she does that intentionally on some things. So, it happens. So, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button and do all that kind of stuff. We appreciate it. Just when you guys come and hang out with us and be part of our community, we love seeing you. We love being a part of this. And the YouTubery online and the craziness, doing all this kind of stuff, being live with you. It's fantastic. Thank you.
Paula, John, just came on. She's in Australia, which is a pretty big continent, but Australia's a continent.
Yeah.
Yep. So
it's right next
Merck
to New
I
Zealand is on the zoo.
It's a new continent.
It's a new continent. What's it called? I'll look it up.
Okay.
Because it's awesome.
It is awesome. But Australia is awesome.
Anyway,
and very, very, very big.
And big, too.
So I'm sure it has its own time zones. But she was saying it is 5 a.m.
Well, yes, it's on the other side of the world.
I haven't had to fly there yet.
I
kind of want to fly there yet. I got to do that. I have a thing going on. Now we're going to make some little flowers. Make little flowers. So we're going to come. First, let's get some green. And we're going to make little spots. These are like little leaves. It's just little touches. Little dotty dots. Because we make little sprigs of flowers that are in her little coat is made of that. Am I bending into it?
Do you have any gouache tutorials?
I do not have gouache tutorials. I do not. I could do one, and to be real candid, my gouache experience is in illumination. I've got quite a lot of it, but it's all illumination based, and I was like, does anybody really want to illuminate a scroll?
I'll bite. What's illumination?
Oh, I have to.
Should I say?
No, you say it. I'm going to just sit here and dot. You say it.
Illumination is also known as book art, which is also like when you paint the pages of a book, which is one of the oldest and largest collections of art in Western culture. Basically, what that means is that over the last 200 or 300 years or so, maybe 500 years probably, we have painted more Bible pages than any other form of art.
Yeah, illuminated Bibles are illustrated Bibles are illuminated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those gorgeous letters and the little animals, and it's very medieval. And I have a lot of experience illuminating scrolls and leafing scrolls. Good leafing and illumination. It doesn't, I looked at it once to see, is this like something anyone's looking up? And I looked up it on trends, and guess what? Nobody's looking it up. So,
well, I really like illumination because it's one of those things that so you had this whole group of artists that were commissioned to constantly illuminate these books. And it's the same book over and over and over and over. So they kind of got to a place where they were putting stuff in there.
Extra stuff. And you could know what artist had done what, because of course, like with anything, it's like you may not know this, but there are people who collect paint by numbers, and there are artists in the paint by number community that are highly collected. Can you tell what colors are on your tray, please? Now, yes, they're in the description. Let me see if I can open this up. So what I have here is lemon yellow, French vermilion, alizarin crimson, carmine, dioxazine purple, ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, forest green, phthalo green light. I have a burnt sienna, Payne's gray, and warm sepia, which is like a burnt umber. But you can use any of the closest approximation because, you know, as long as you're close on the watercolor, it's really going to come out. You could use Crayola if that's what you got. I'm making these little clusters. They go dot, dot, dot. These are little dots. I'm just using the toe of the brush and just dotting. One to dot. Dot, 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 dot.
All the dots.
Dot, 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 dot.
Yeah, dot,
I gotta
dot,
come back to the chat wherever I put that. I think, oh yeah. There we go. Continuing to
Thank you
this
guys
up.
for all the stars. And
yeah, thank you for being here.
Being here with us. We really do. It's just
sometimes you just need a break from what's happening in the day, yeah? Now tomorrow we're doing an acrylic. We're doing a little cute harvest field mouse on a dandelion making a wish. And we're all going to wish for whatever we wish for so that things can get better. I'm going to go into my blue now. I'm going to use my phthalo blue. I'm going to come here and just make dots here as well. Same thing, flowers now. I would say the thing about this is just that there's layers into it. That's all that is about this painting is you've got some layers. It's it takes a second, and give yourself a second to do it. Sometimes, you know, we had a comment yesterday. It was real interesting, kind of frustrated my moderators, but I thought it was super insightful, and I'm going to share it with you because it didn't really frustrate me. It was interesting. Somebody was like, hey, I don't understand how you're here for an hour, and like Russian painters are doing these big landscapes in like 30 minutes. Guys, editing.
Time lapse.
And I think and there's nothing wrong with the art or even editing or time lapsing or doing these special type of cuts that kind of do fade cuts that can take a lot of time out of a process. The only thing about it you've got to be aware of is that you're not putting the expectation on yourself that that's normal or the speed that you should be working or any of that.
And also, there are artists who work at their entire career to have a fast style at something. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with someone who has perfected the ability to paint something quickly with a high level of skill. But that doesn't mean that it's something that can be taught in that amount of time.
Or you should, as a student, put pressure on yourself to do. The time takes what it takes. There's not a speed component. I'm making some extra blues here. You know, to this painting thing. So you've got to just do what you've got to do to get the result that you're trying to get. And you just make that be okay. And you never know what somebody else's process is. They may be using projection. They may be using technique-based skills, and those can really change how fast something goes. And if you're a new artist, that's not something you're going to easily see. But just don't hold your feet to that fire, I guess is my point. How we're making these little clusters of blue. You know, I love that. Paula says she loves the messiness of the watercolor, so fun and free. And then, Toy Paco says, what's your name, artist? And I'm new to this channel. Well, I'm Cinnamon Cooney. You're Art Sherpa, and I guide people through painting. That's kind of the idea. And welcome to the channel. It's good to have you. And welcome, Barry. Barry is also here. So everyone is coming in new. You're dropping in new. We're super happy to have you. Super happy to have you. Tapping along, just doing these little clusters of flowers. You know, it's wonderful to paint botanical realism. That's fantastic. But sometimes just little loose expressive flowers like this are just a joy. Yeah, I might get a little bit of little ultramarine and come here and add some layers. Kind of avoiding my flowers a bit, but just I feel like there's an area. This is almost a dry brushing or glazing. Adding some bits of chiffon texture and stuff that you could be having. Now, I'm going to show you these fall leaves. Whole lesson is worth the fall leaves. I'm going to come here and I'm going to load up with my bright red. This is the French, I said it earlier, vermilion, French vermilion, which is a lot like a cad red. And here's how you do the fall leaves. Let's do one right here. And I'll let John zoom in.
All right.
You want to see the technique because you can use this for just anything. I'm going to come here and I'm going to just pull down a line. Then to the left of it, I'm going to pull down a line. To the right. Then another one kind of to the side. Another one to the side. And then a little stem. You love it?
Mm-hmm.
We got to do a lot of it. You love it? Good. Because we're doing it for a while. We're doing this for a minute.
For a moment.
For a moment. You know they have this feature. Oh, Amy, thank you so much. So appreciate that. They have this feature on Facebook where you can bring people on camera.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just like, how crazy would that be? Like you just tune in to watch some artist just innocently on your device, and then they drag you on camera by yourself in your COVID hair and your COVID house, all on camera. Or, you know, 100 people. Would just be crazy. Like, I feel like that's a dangerous feature.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to bring some of these up into her hair, I think. And this is what makes her the autumn fairy. Just pulling these little leaves. You can do them big and you can do them small. Okay. So you can do many. They can be bent, blowing some different directions. It's really fun to figure out you can do these and then you're like, oh my gosh, I could like literally paint every leaf on a tree. Don't do it. It's tempting, but don't do it. No, you can totally do it. If you really feel the need to, if it's calling to you, I wouldn't want to stop. And sometimes repetitive tasks like these leaves here, they will really help you. I'm going to add some just little marks just kind of to talk about, like maybe her hair is dropping the fall leaves is the idea of it, I think. Works in watercolor, this technique too. Just saying. Works in watercolor too. Pauline says she's lying in bed watching, and Tammy's like, no, you can't get me. I put tape on my camera. I like MacGyvered that. And you are not going to be messing with me. I love that. My mom sent me this gift once. It was a product from Amazon that was a camera that would look at you getting dressed and make clothing recommendations.
Mm-hmm. You put it in your closet.
You put it in your closet where it could stare at you. And I was just like, clearly she's not read the articles on Jeff Bezos.
Right. You want me to stand in, like, I have a hard time standing in front of like a full-size mirror and you're like, you're gonna put a little robot camera in there.
To like give feedback, man, I barely survived the snarkiness of the Wii fitness program. You remember that thing?
Well,
practically you're fat and out of shape. Everybody knows it, and I'm gonna go tell all your friends. That is practically what it was like with the Wii. The Wii was so mean. It's like, where have you been? And I'm like, well, I had school, and it's like, you haven't done anything. Did you know your friend has been working out all week and they have lost weight? I'm like, what? Do you remember the Wii?
Oh yeah, no.
It's so mean. So mean. I'm still doing leaves.
Well, I'd say Alexa's demeanor has improved greatly since we loaded Samuel L. Jackson.
Celine says, yeah, Samuel L. Jackson is that I'm loving this painting more and more as you go. I don't have my paint set. I'm just looking, but I love it. Looking forward to a winter fairy. And then we got the little princesses in bed. And then Colleen's like, there's a winter fairy. And I'm like, there is now. Why not? We've got the 12 days coming up, so there could be winter fairy. Mm-hmm. That would be fun to design, to think about. Fun to design and think about and do.
My little there.
There we go. Just putting these little leaves in. Isn't this a fun technique?
Yeah.
Whole videos with this technique.
That's why.
Make sure that you're, facing your leaves some different directions and making sure that they have different sizes. Because leaves.
Leaves.
I'm going to be laughing at the leaves after the owl painting. So many leaves. Celine Peters says, yay! All right, here we go. Just going along, painting the little fall fairy. Leaves everywhere. Lots of leaves.
Mm-hmm.
So many leaves. Why not, right? Now I'm going to get into my purple, a fun and wonderful color. And I'm going to also come here and dot some purple because I feel like my flowers should have two tones. Especially in the cooler part of the dress.
Mm-hmm.
And what's wonderful is you can take some of these up here. It'd be fun to do one of these based on kind of like a dandelion too. Uh-oh. That'd be a whole thing, isn't it? It's like every time I think we're done with walk away girls, I come up with like 5 new walk away girls.
You got like new girls to walk away from us. We have seen them all, but they're like, no.
No, there are more girls that will walk away. They walk away into woods, into the city. I think the only thing I painted more than owls is walk away girls. I didn't even know I had that strong a feeling about any of that. It can also be nice to put in butterflies and little bugs that are flying and stuff. So, be aware that that's an option. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put a few in because I just feel like they look very fall. The little creatures that are maybe like tapping the little brush around, just making a little random. What am I trying to do here, you may wonder? I'm trying to make sure that in the pattern of their dress, there isn't something so rhythmic that my eye gets stuck. And that's all I see. Mm-hmm. Life with Casey says, I'm so happy it's November. I agree.
November.
Oh, and then Connie, she did an Elsa. I only know because I painted it like 6 times for friends and kids. I really do actually like Frozen, especially. Okay, don't laugh, but I like Frozen too, man. Mm. The Olaf's existential crisis was like everything to me. Let's make some butterflies.
Yeah. There's been a lot of, I've been enjoying existential crises a lot recently.
Have you?
Because I feel very, like, I think I myself maybe
having one
in the middle of one, like many Americans find themselves recently. But, so I connect to that.
You connected
story.
To that?
Yeah.
I think sometimes we should question the nature of life and who we are and what is the meaning of things. Anytime I watch Tyson DeGrasse, I certainly start questioning the nature of reality. We just watched this one on Netflix, Prospector.
Meh.
No, actually, I don't know. I have to say, okay, so is a space movie?
Well written.
It's well written, but honestly, I love the environment. Whoever scouted that movie was a stone cold genius because it does not feel like it's on Earth at all. And it also inspired me to want to paint things. It was not a calming movie.
Personally, I needed Quentin Tarantino to write the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
That would have like made it.
For you?
Yeah, if like they would have just said, Mr. Tarantino, last 10 minutes of this movie are yours.
And Tarantino, if you paint with us, you must let us know.
Yes, dude. I think all your work is awesome. Just.
I mean, my daughter's name is Honey Bunny. Oh, when your daughter puts that together.
Uh-huh. Well,
You know. We're a weird couple. Like for a long time, our couple song was Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Breakup songs.
We did have a lot. Well, we were. It's just we like those songs.
They had a good riff.
Yeah, we like the Proclaimers do 500 Miles is good. That was sort of an us song as well. We had a few. I think my generation had a soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. Well,
is what it was.
Yeah, it was the first generation to really grow up with the ability to have portable music that was branded as your own, on demand. And just sort of like the cassette tape changed a lot, and then DVDs or CDs.
Moderator Cad Yellow just got Connie the link to the Elsa tutorial. One that's excellent with glitter, if I may say so myself. And there's some really cool new glitters out there, glitter paints and things.
You finished her up.
I know I did.
I was just like waxing away.
I did, but I think she needs some more blue on her little headdress.
Oh yeah.
I'm just giving her some more because I feel like she could use some more. But also because I just want to paint with everybody a little bit longer.
Just a little bit longer.
Oh, wow. I think we're there, guys. I think it's signing time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, tomorrow, get your acrylics out. We're going to be painting a mouse. He's going to be in the 2 hoot range. We've done mice. People are pretty successful with him. He's going to be on an 8x8 square canvas. And we're going to really focus on the dandelion fluff and his smiling cuteness. I picked this image because when I saw it, my heart instantly elevated. It skipped up a beat. It became happier. And I just thought, that's the spirit that we need to be. That's our life raft right now, is this happy place, focusing on the joy of this mouse. Oh, Darcy says her daughter's nickname is Honey Bunny Boo Boo Bear, but we just called her Boo Boo. I like that. And then Amy says, is there a working link to the patron Facebook page? So we don't have a patron Facebook page. We have a patron group. That's the Art Sherpa Light Keepers. And you can join that at the $5 of patronage, which gets you lessons, a bunch of past lessons and a bunch of future lessons and a ton of extra content and things like that. And we're always adding to it because we'd like to be competitive. And just make sure that you guys, if you're supporting us in that way, you get a lot out of it. But we don't have a Patreon account. We do Patron off of our website because we want to be able to, as we expand into things like Roku or as we do new things,
do more.
We want to be able to give you guys more than that platform necessarily always would let us do.
And we don't, there's, when we work with a platform that controls the access to you guys, then we can't control,
whether you get the newsletter.
Yeah, there's just a lot more privacy that we can control when we work through our website rather than having to share that information with a platform like Patreon.
Raheel has no nickname.
Raheel, that is something you should pick. You should consider your nickname. Consider what would you prefer?
Gotta speak to your spirit.
Yeah.
Speak to who you are. Or you've got to have friends that give you one. Though yes, that can go either way because my friends decided that cinnamon was like, they just called me paprika. I was like, okay. So you just went to another spice in the cupboard. I wanted like a cool nickname. I couldn't get one though.
You're pretty cool.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think I have ever been cool. I accept this. That is not my vibe. That is not my vibe at all. All right, let's see what's going on here. Oh, Oh, Colleen, thank you for the stars. I appreciate that so much. Rovetta says it takes a lot of patience. True. And Elba says, hey, everybody. And Dusty sent some stars. Thank you. And Christy Lev says, be cool, honey bunny. Yeah, be cool, honey bunny. Be cool.
Be cool.
Love Darren. I don't know why. It's like an illness, but I do. Like I lost my mind for Kill Bill. Lost my mind. Not enough to wear a bee suit. I think that's something only Uma can pull off. You've got to be Uma Thurman. Don't you really?
Yeah.
You know, or Mila Jovovich. Those two women can wear a bumblebee suit. I wear a bumblebee suit. It needs to be like a full fluffy costume. There's clearly a joke for Halloween. I can't get all sleek like, I'm going to run up these stairs via the little railing. That's not happening. If like me on a railing would be like me on a railing for 2 seconds and falling off. Question, shouldn't we sign working in from edge to edge at least 1/2 inch or more so as not to hide it in framing? You know, you can do that. So here's what it is. If you're working commercially, you may need to think about where your signature is in relationship to the frame. I am of this weird mind in my own signature, and this is going to seem really weird, but there's this ego in the signature that John, I'll tell you, I've struggled with reconciling. Like, I struggle to sign my pieces. Struggle. Not that I'm ashamed and I don't want to sign them, but I don't want to disrupt the piece with my signature. Yeah. And I'm like, it's not so important that I did it. And so I try to sign in a way that it's very integrated into the piece. It's enough for providence. Like if somebody ever were looking for providence, they could go, oh yeah, that's her signature. I try to sign in the medium I paint in so that providence is easier to identify, just in case. By the way, future person, you're welcome. Yep. But and also the fact that all this collection is filmed, it's going to be pretty easy to identify. However, but before that, it's just hard for me to sign. And like when people like in art school or just actually in my early art career, when I would see people with like a big giant red signature, it was like, God, dude, you think a lot of you, you know? And Sean would have to get me out of the room. So I've just always been kind of, Rahil's like, can we chat more or a couple of minutes, or are you tired? I mean, we can chat a few minutes.
Yeah, and
we've done the painting. The replay on it. I don't have like a big watercolor following, so we don't have to come in on those like timed replays. Because a lot of times people look at your video and they'll come to the end and they're like, is that an hour and a half? So they're so funny.
So
they're so funny.
Just as a note.
Thank you, Tasha. Tasha says, I'm amazing. But there is no right or wrong way in that sense to sign or not sign. It's art, and you have to find a way to relate to your artwork that works for you. And even if it is a big red signature, if that works for you, if that's what speaks to what you're doing in your art process, then that's what you need to do. Mm-hmm. Donna says, I understand that. Can we sign on the back? Yes, signing on the back is totally allowed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. For Providence, sometimes appraisers appreciate it if you sign in the medium you made the work instead of an alternate device, because when you sign in like pens or other things, it's easier to forge your work later. Funny thing about that for me is I've literally trained everybody to forge my work. So, right. So I don't really have that concern in any way, right? This is like, and honestly, like even when my own team is trying to identify like the reference photo versus the other photo, sometimes I deviate, but sometimes I'm so close. They're like, how many stars did she put in? Mm-hmm. You know, they're counting them down. So it's just one of those things. Annie says, thank you so much. I love painting this. Didi says, when I sign, I try to do so hidden in the image with the color that blends in. Yeah, I am very much that. Now I had a friend, he's a huge art collector in Houston and longtime friend of mine. And an artist himself, and he runs a lot of shows and he curates a lot of exhibits and stuff like that. And he is like he would become so angry if an artist signed their work, wouldn't even collect it. And then probably I'm one of the few artists in his collection where he's tolerated the signature on any level, and it's because I do kind of try to put it in there. But so there is a whole thinking in the art world, like on a professional sense, about signatures. You really got to be present. for that. And then Chiquita's like, hopefully not forge your signature. You know, again, what I do is so different from what every other artist on planet Earth is doing, right? Like, I used to think of my work as the painting itself, right? The process of the painting and what happened between me and the medium and what came out of it, and then finally the result. And then that was the work. Since I have been on YouTube, that has evolved to, I don't even consider this. I consider the work your artwork. It's really weird. I get online and I look to see what your feedback is, how you answer back. Like we're in this crazy conversation with each other because we have this crazy social media where we can share things so imminently. Like you're in my group and you're sharing your tutorials, but you're not just sharing your tutorials, you're sharing the emotional state you were in during the tutorials or how you relate to your finished work, or you're on Instagram and you're putting it out there. And I can see how, you know, what your community is about. It's like you guys have communities in a sense, right? Your friends, your family, the people in your lives that respond to your artwork. And so I'm very about that now and have become very kind of dissociative from the painting. That's another reason why I think it's been a lot harder to personally attack me on the work as I've evolved on YouTube. Like there was a time, like if you came in and you talked smack about my artwork and you were a peer, not a student, a peer, we would be in it. We would be seriously in it forever. Right? Where if you come up and it's like, but like, as I've been here, this dissociation has happened. And it's kind of like not even meaningful anymore. Like a lot of it is like, you know, even an artist I looked up to couldn't come in and necessarily give me any shade that would have any real resonance. I think it's harder on me if people talk smack about John. Katie says, cinnamon watercolors. I'm still trying to get the courage up to use acrylics. Canvas still blank while I shake. Too afraid to put a paintbrush to canvas. Katie, that's an extraordinarily strong experience. I would, without knowing you, so this is definitely some armchair art teaching, I would say that you have put pressure on yourself about your result and your outcome. New painters often do that. They emotionally and mentally paint the whole painting and then come to the end result where they are afraid there will be failure. And what you have in art is you can't have failure in art. You have process and your experience with the paint and the painting. And there isn't a failure component to that. So sometimes you'll put these expectations on yourself that really don't need to be there. And really all you need to do is get in and play with the colors. And if you can get into the state of like, hey, I'm going to follow along. I'm going to do the steps. I'm going to learn the techniques. The result is the result. But what really matters is the space I am in here, in my heart, while I'm painting, the space that it holds in my soul while I'm painting. That's the big thing overall with everything. So that's an important thing. And I think it's easy to that, you know, and I mean, and don't get me wrong, like all my art career, right? Like when I have been able to remove myself in this, like if somebody comes up and they're like, your artwork's very illustrative. I have noticed, I've said this before, if you've been here a while, you'll notice if an artist comes up and gives you any shade, if you look at the shade they give you, if they're like, your artwork's too representative, well, then you look at their work and they're struggling with creating representative work. A lot of times other people are projecting their nonsense onto you and it just doesn't have anything to do with you or the painting or any of that. Like the guy that came by was like, you know, the Russian painters paint so fast and blah, blah, blah. You know, dude, that is something that's going on with you. That has nothing to do with my channel, which is doing its thing. And it's nothing to do with this painting, which is doing its thing, has already happened, exists. That's about you and what you have assigned to the experience of art. Like you have created some speed component and some result component that is conditional to your work. And those things actually, you know, are not, weirdly. You know, it's so crazy. Katie says, you're right. Enormous pressure. Been watching you for nearly 2 years. Still too scared. That's about the pressure. And, you know, sometimes it's good to examine those fears. Like what will happen? Like, let's say it just, you know, maybe take one and just throw some paint on it and scribble it and just get it done. Right.
Yeah.
And that's the painting. That's the one that you just like, just maybe do your fear, like make it all gray and scribble it on there and go, okay, I've done that. I've now made that painting and put that on the wall, right? With like no fear written on it. And then put that up to remind yourself that the result, it's not like sometimes like the results are the results, you know, it works or it doesn't work. Like it just does. About every 10 paintings I do, I tank. Luckily I do so many paintings. Most of them don't happen on the channel where I just tank. But it does seem to be like that, especially if I'm stretching myself. If I'm like, you know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to take on cars because I suck at them and I'm going to take on cars, you know? And then, obviously if I'm stretching myself in an area that I'm not skilled or proficient or highly versed, periodically the thing I try isn't going to work particularly well. Sometimes I'll look out there and I'll try to take on a style or technique or concept that maybe I'm, you know, not super familiar with, though there are very few things I'm not. Darcy says, that is exactly what I did not like about graphic design school. Always tell you your work is wrong because it has to be done for a client. Well, see, there are a couple types of artists, and there are artists, we call them, they're like art vending machines, man. We have a good friend, Chuck Carson. You should check out his YouTube channel if you like Archie or comics or any of that. And he is an art machine. Like he is so good at like clients can come in him and like, I need this and I need this. And he puts it out and then they're like, change all these things. And he's so just about like, he just doesn't even care. He just loves making the lines and making the colors and all of that. And he's in that space where he can produce artwork commercially. That is not every artist. Right? That is not a good fit for every artist. In fact, some artists should not monetize their work because it will literally strangle the very joy out of it. Because clients can be hard. People in a gallery evaluating our artwork, deciding if they're going to drop a few grand on it, that can be hard, right? Yeah. Like, because they might come in and they're like, why is there so much paint? I'm going to quote some stuff. I'm going to do a couple. Why is there so much pink? You think she knew there was going to be so much pink? I mean, and what pink is that? Why is it that pink? Do you think she would change it to orange? I mean, like, maybe it would look okay over the sofa if we had it in orange, right? And you're standing there next to your work and this person is saying this stuff and you've got to be chill. You got to be cool, honey bunny.
You do.
Right? Hold on, Sherpa. Remember what you said to me over that raid thing? Be the light. Yeah, you've got to be those things. You've got to be that. You choose. Other people don't get to choose. Where your life is not in danger, right? Like I recognize there are situations where your physical well-being is in genuine danger, right? But in most situations, you do have the opportunity to choose what you think of what they have to say and how you respond to it, who you want to be in relationship to it, especially online. Because you can walk away from the keyboard, formulate a response, and come back and decide what that is. You don't have to just respond in the moment online, do you? You just like give it a minute. You're okay. You're essentially online. You're safe, right? Yeah. And DaCosta will be having more lessons with black paper and iridescent watercolor. Yes, we will, especially coming up into the holidays. Yes. That's the Paul Rubens glitter watercolor that we're using, and it is the Fabriano black paper. Michelle says, if they say your stuff is too whatever, say, would you like me to show you how to do that? You know, again, like, you can't, you know, what can you do with people, right? Like, honestly, we're all so crazy, right? Some days it's my turn, some days it's your turn. And that gets us to how we like to end the show, which is remember to be good to yourself and be good to each other because we're all in this together. And I want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.